Am I looking okay on the camera there?
Yeah.
Okay,
maybe
perfect.
put it over.
Just a little bit this way,
Maybe.
like that.
Okay, that's better. You're right in the middle.
Okay, thank you. Hello friends, my name is Hamid. Today I'm working on this kenmore microwave. My customers complain is that the microwave is not heating. Also the turntable tray is not running. When you turn on the microwave, it will run, everything seems that it's working, but the turntable doesn't run and it's not heating. And I'll show you how we're gonna fix this. I got half a cup of water. We're gonna test it first. Microwave is running. You can see that the cap is there, it's not turning. If the microwave is working, it will heat up or it will get at least warm within 15-20 seconds. I ran it for a couple of seconds. I can see it's not heating. Customer also told me that there is no heat, and I will start working on it. The first thing we are going to do is I have this blanket that I use it for my refrigeration because it doesn't burn. It's a heat resistant blanket. I'll put it on top of the oven. I usually take this with me when I go in a customer house to work on the microwave, because if the customer was using the oven before I got in the house, it will be very hot. So to protect the top glass on the oven, I want to add a blanket or a towel or something. I got this one, and I asked my customer for an extra towel. I will also add this here to be on the safe side. I got this small stepping stool. I will disconnect the microwave, and I'm gonna take these the screws out from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 screws here.
Yeah, that's good. I can see it. That's good.
Okay, thank you. The stop plate comes out. This comes out, and I took this screw off. We want to hold the panel and pull it towards out a little bit, and wiggle it back and forth, and push it at the same time from the back, from the bottom. It comes off, and you can leave it like this. So before we work on the microwave, we are gonna take this little small panel off. It's a Phillips screw. This comes out. Our dangerous capacitor is there. We want to be very careful with this capacitor. We have to discharge it before we work on this microwave, because if you work on a microwave and the capacitor is not discharged, it can kill you. So that's very important. We are going to discharge this. So that's my capacitor, and I will need a needle nose plier. I will disconnect one of the wires from there. Make sure it's very well insulated. Disconnect one of the wires from the capacitor, and now I will hold the camera and bring it close by. You can see those 2 pins. I'm going to use the needle nose plier to touch those 2 pins at the same time. Discharge the capacitor. So once you press on those two pins with your needle nose plier, sometimes it sparks, sometimes it does not spark, but you just want to make sure you touch it. If it sparks, good, you know that you discharge it, but if it doesn't spark, it means that it's not holding a lot of charge. Maybe it was not being used. So you're on the safe side. Do this first. And then, of course, your power is disconnected at this moment. And you can reconnect your wire back in. Be careful and remember, where you pull this wire, you want to reinstall the wire back in at the same place. Okay. And now we are focusing on these switches. I'll have my flashlight inside here so you can see. The lights we have, the micro switches we have is one here, one there at the bottom, and then there's another one at the bottom. On this one I can already see the damage on the micro switch. If you look close by, you see that damage on the wire. That's my first problem. I'm not gonna do anything before I replace that switch. So I'll disconnect it here. The wire is disconnected.
If you want water or something, let me know.
Thank you very much. You need a flat screwdriver to disconnect these switches. So instead of disconnecting all the switches, what makes my job easier is to take the whole switch assembly out and work on it from there. If you have a drill, I have this angle extension that I can use, or you can just use a screwdriver and open these screws. They're both Phillips. Now the door switch assembly comes out. And you can pull it out completely. Here it looks like that. And in order to pull the switch out, I'll show you the back of it. You see that little small plastic tab in there? That we want to pull out on it. So the easiest way is to put a little bit pressure on this top one. You can use a flat screwdriver underneath and try to lift it up, and then at the same time you're pressing the switch. Here the switch came out. Switch seems okay, but it's burnt from inside. You can always check this for continuity to make sure if it's working or not. I'll put this here and I'll grab my meter. I have my meter selected on, this multimeter is selected on the ohms and resistance with the beep on. So I will be getting the continuity test on this switch. The switch, I'll leave it here for now, and then I'll put one of my probe here on one side of the switch, on one pin, another one on this side, and then I press it with my finger. You see this? That tells me that the switch is broken. To be on the safe side, you always add your probes together. You hear beep or you're getting any reading on your multimeter. This way you know that the meter is working, and sometime they get unplugged from there, but you don't know, you don't pay attention, and then it doesn't give you good reading. You will think that the switch is bad. In fact, the multimeter could be bad. So you want to check those and try it again. See, when I press on this switch, it should make a beep noise, or while it's not pressed in, it should make a beep noise. If it's not making any kind of noise, it means that the switch is burnt from inside, and you can clearly see that the switch was overheated. and it causes a problem. I have a switch that's similar to this switch, and I'm gonna test this. This is a working switch. It's working perfectly fine. I had it in my van. I brought it with me inside the customer house to see if that's the problem. I can replace it, and I'll show you the working one, the one which is working perfectly. See, no reading. When I press the button, I should hear. So this is a working switch. I'm going to replace this switch. To make your job easier, you can replace this switch, and I'll do it right now. The switch is replaced, but for me to make my job easier, I'm gonna check these two switches just for my own safety, to make my job easier. Because if you don't check these two switches, and you assume that this switch is the only problem and you replace it, you put everything back together, now you're running your microwave, it's still not running. So now you have to open it apart again and see what's the problem, why we have the same issue, and then you have to come back and check your other switches, and you will find another one being bad. So to save your time and do the job properly, you replace one broken one. Now you're gonna jump on the second one. I'll disconnect this. The plastic sleeve came out, but the switches are the pins are there. Why? Because on these pins, or over here, we have a little small connector that you have to press in. There's a safety tab. You press on that, and then you can pull it out. The same thing on this one. You can use a flat screwdriver to press it, or you can also use your nail. So this switch is beeping, but when I press on the switch, it should not beep. No beep, we got beep. So that switch is also okay. I will also show you these small connectors and see how they're looking. You see these wires? The connector has a little small clip on it. It's made of same material. You press on it and then it comes off. If you don't press on that little small tab, you're gonna break the switch. You can reinstall your switch back in. And now I'm gonna jump on the third switch. This one came off easily because maybe it was a little bit loose. I do not have any continuity, but when I press on this switch, little small switch, it should make beep noise. It's making noise. So all our switches are good now. I'll put this back together. This one, the way this switch is looking, I'm gonna have to break this tab, clean this the clip that goes into the switch, and then it's gonna work fine. If I leave it like that, it may overheat the switch and break another switch. Here's the wire connector. If you have a steel brush, you can use the steel brush to clean it. Otherwise, you can just use a flat screwdriver to shave all of these plastic debris from this wire connector, and then you're good to go. Everything seems okay, and just pinch it a little bit, make sure it's a little bit tight. And now you don't have to insert it back in if you can't, but I recommend do it to be on the safe side. You can connect this after too if you want. You have to put extra force on those wires from the back to make sure it sits properly, because if this is a loose connection, customer will have the same problem in near future. The bottom wire connector looks perfectly fine. I'm not gonna touch anything in there. It sits good. Double check this wire to make sure it's not loose. I'll put my screws back in. I do not recommend using a drill if you're a new technician, or if you're a homeowner, or if you're a handy person. Please do not use a drill, because you don't know how fast the drill can go, and it can strip the door hook, and then you're gonna have more problem than one. Because I know the pressure of the drill, I'm feeling comfortable doing this. It's nice and snug there. Add this safety cage here. Also check your control board wires to make sure nothing is disconnected, because sometimes when you're working on it and it's kind of sitting down, you're putting a lot of force on top of the control board, and one of the wires may come off, so be careful with that. Everything seems okay. I will reinstall this back in. You see these two small clips on each side, here and there. We got 4 holes. 2 goes over there. 2 of those little small tabs, they go here, and then you push it down. The first thing you're gonna add when you put the control board back in, these 2 tabs, this one and that one, they go there, and then after that you can play around with the side ones. Press hard on it and then push it down. Okay, that's tight now, and I can add my top screw back in. The top screw that holds it in here. So before I put this piece back in, I'm gonna run the microwave and test it. It's not heating still.
I'm gonna disconnect this. I'll check the same switch. Okay.
I'm gonna disconnect my capacitor again and discharge it, because apparently it's still not working. Capacitor is discharged.
stupid thing.
So the problem I can see here inside is that when I close this door, the hooks, they do not really hit the switches. So that means that when I reinstalled my door hook back, I did not install it properly. So I'm gonna open it a little bit from top and bottom. And I'm gonna have to bring it a little bit up like that. See, just a little bit difference, it will make a difference, and I'll see what's gonna happen next. Okay, I will close the door and look at the switches. Now I can see it's really contacting. Let me see. I'll use the flashlight to show you from the side. So you look at the side, I'm going to close the door. See how nicely it's hitting the switch? Before I adjusted those screws, it was not hitting that switch, and that's why I was not getting power to the transformer. If you're not getting power to the transformer, you're gonna check your switches, which you wanna make sure your control board is flushed from this side and from that side. That's the way you know that you reinstall your control board properly. Otherwise, you will have problems. So let's try it again. Do you mind if I use this cap?
No, no, go ahead, glass or whatever you want.
Thank you.
And then you can see it, yeah.
Yeah, hold on. Another one. Cross your fingers.
Hey?
Cross your fingers.
Yeah.
So now I can hear the transformer running. That gives me a good feeling that the microwave is working. And let's run it for a minute and see how it goes. I can see that the microwave is running. The turntable is also turning. Okay. You can see that the water is boiling. It's working fine. Here you go, that's your hot water. Oh dear, be careful, it's very hot.
Oh, it's working now.
Yes. Okay, now we can put the stop panel back in, this trim piece. As you can see, there's an opening here. I'm gonna disconnect the power before I do this to be safe. Open the microwave door. As a customer, it's very hard for you that when you're buying your microwave, they would not tell you what to do with the microwave, what kind of maintenance, but this filter needs to come out and you need to clean it. this little small filter, you need to clean it. As you can see, there's some oil in there. If you cannot clean this, you can replace it. Your model number is located right here. On some microwave, the model number is there. Get the model number, call the power suppliers and tell them you need the filter for the microwave. Just replace it. It's maybe like $5-6. It really helps the microwave to stay healthy. Do you have a paper towel I can use?
Yeah. How many more?
Just one piece is fine. Thank you, sir. You can clean all the oil and then put the filter between two paper towels and push it hard with your hand. And remember, you have this kind of filter, not exactly the same, but you have a filter similar to this, different shapes and sizes, and all the microwaves. If you don't know, you need to open this area and see it, you will find out. And to insert it back in, kind of push it back in here. We install it back in and then you can put this back in. It's held by 2 screws.
Is your the debris there? And clean it.
And if you have enough time, you can also use soapy water and wash it. This little small tab you can see goes right there, and that little small. You see this tab, it sits straight there. Once it got seated properly, you're gonna push it from the top and then push it towards right hand side and add your screws. Double check this seam, this opening, to make sure it's perfectly aligned. If it's open, then it means this panel is not sitting properly. Open and close your door a couple of times to make sure it's lined up properly, so you won't get a recall back from the customer saying that the door is not closing properly. Microwave is ready to go. Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you guys have any question, please comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and share my videos with others. Thank you.